The holiday season is all about giving back, and one of the special features about that is on the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad. In this video, we're going to be exploring the Toys for Tots trains on the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad, beginning on the Central New York Territory on the former Erie Railroad main line between Binghamton, New York, and Port Jervis, New York, exploring many locations on the former Erie Railroad main line. We start our journey just outside of Binghamton in the town of Kirkwood, New York, as NYSW train CLX led by SD70M-2 number 4066 begins its long run bound for Port Jervis, New York. After completing a stop in the town of Great Bend, Pennsylvania, we watch as the train rolls around a sweeping curve just east of Great Bend, Pennsylvania, alongside the Susquehanna River. In the town of Susquehanna, Pennsylvania, we watch as the train approaches the former Erie Railroad passenger depot and stops right at the auto signal at milepost 191. A last-minute decision was made by Operation Toy Train and the New York, Susquehanna, and Western to make a photo stop on the former Erie Railroad viaduct known as Staruga Viaduct in Lanesboro, Pennsylvania. Storuca Viaduct was built in 1854 by the Erie Railroad to be able to cross over the Delaware and Hudson Railroad's Penn Division, which is now the D&H Rail Trail below the Storuca Viaduct. We watch as the Toys for Tots train makes a photo stop on the Storuca Viaduct before continuing east into New York State.
Brief stop here on the bridge. Roger, working on it. Let you know when the hind end is on the bridge.
The next stop for the Toys for Tots train is back in the Empire State, in the heart of Deposit, New York. We're located right behind the site of where the former Erie Railroad's freight yard was once located in Deposit. East of Deposit, the train is continuing east as it sweeps around the curve in Hale Eddy, New York, as it heads toward its next scheduled stop in the town of Hancock. On the approach into Hancock, we watch the train as it sweeps around another curve, just in the outskirts of Hancock, New York. With the train now ready to depart Hancock, New York, the rest of the journey from here to Port Jervis will be traveling through the upper section of the Delaware River Valley, the reason why this portion of the Erie Main line was named the Delaware Division. Between Long Eddy and Hankins is the village of Basket, New York. We watch the train as it sweeps around a curve alongside the Delaware River over a small creek. One of the more popular stops on the line today was the former Erie Railroad Passenger Depot here in Callicoon, New York. Back in the day, this was a major passenger stop for the Erie between Binghamton and Port Jervis, right in the center of the Delaware River Valley. The town of Callicoon has a lot of old classic shops and restaurants, and even an old movie theater as well. We watch as the Toys for Tots train approaches the Callicoon Depot and stops just short of the grade crossing, right in the center of town. Further down the line is the next scheduled stop in Narrowsburg, as the Toys for Tots train sweeps around a curve, passing some campgrounds right alongside the Delaware River. After chasing the New York Susquehanna and Western from Binghamton down to Narrowsburg, we're now relocated at milepost 87 on the former Erie Main line at the Metro North Railroad station in Port Jervis, New York. This line is also jointly operated with New Jersey Transit down to Hoboken, New Jersey. The first train this evening leaving Port Jervis station is train number 80, beginning its journey here at Port Jervis for its 87-mile run to Hoboken, New Jersey. The Port Jervis line trains usually have the classic EMD locomotives pushing or leading their trains. In this case on train 80, NJ Transit GP40PH-2B number 4215, that was originally built for the New York Central as a GP40, is pushing on the rear of the train on its way to Hoboken. Only a few minutes after train 80 left for Hoboken, we heard the defect detector going off in Mill Riff, Pennsylvania, a few miles west of Port Jervis. We knew that had to be the Toys for Tots train finishing up their day after their final stop in Chehola as they make their way into Port Jervis. After the Operation Toy train crew hopped off the train here at the Metro North Station in Port Jervis, the New York Susquehanna and Western's Toys for Tots train shoves back on the former Erie Main line towards Control Point, PA to tie down the train for the night. After the Toys for Tots train shoved back into the clear, train number 77 made its way into Port Jervis, completing its 87-mile run, with GP40 FH-2 number 4905 leading the train into Port Jervis Station. A spectacular sunrise greets us this morning over the Raritan River on the Driscoll Bridge on the Garden State Parkway on Saturday, December 13th. We're making our way north to the New York Susquehanna and Western Railroad Toys for Tots train running on the Southern Division in northern New Jersey. This is the final run of Toys for Tots on the NYSW this year, and the power for this one will be an interesting one. But in the meantime, here's some beautiful scenes alongside the New Jersey Turnpike as you just witnessed in Port Newark, and now here with the skyline of downtown Manhattan across the Hudson River in the distance. As soon as we got to Richfield Park, a CSX intermodal was making its way out of the port of Newark, New Jersey, heading north up the river line to its next crew change point in Selkirk. And that brings us to the site of the former New York Central passenger station here in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, where the CSX River Line parallels the New York Susquehanna and Western's Southern Division. The Toys for Tots train has the same consist that they had on the CMYK, but a different locomotive on the point. The power is SD33 Eco number 3012, which was originally built for the Southern Pacific as an SD40T-2 tunnel motor. The locomotive was rebuilt several years ago to an SD33 Eco to upgrade all the mechanics and keep the locomotive running. The NYSW only has one SD40T-2 still running, being number 3014. But in the meantime, the Toys for Tots train today on the Southern Division will be running mostly on original NYSW trackage built from their main line out of Jersey City. Today, the NYSW Southern Division is based out of Little Ferry and runs north all the way to Warwick, New York, where it connects up with the Middletown in New Jersey, which is now Norfolk Southern's Hudson Secondary, to Hudson Junction, which connects up with the Port Jervis line. We'll be chasing from Ridgefield Park as far as Oakland, New Jersey today, at several spots along the Southern Division. We make the quick jump to the former NYSW passenger station in Maywood, New Jersey, just before the train's first stop of the day in Rochelle Park. While the NYSW was stopped at Rochelle Park, we made our way to Saddlebrook, New Jersey, to catch some New Jersey Transit action in the meantime. The first train to pass us here in Saddlebrook is NJ Transit train number 1856, on its way from Waldwick to Hoboken. A quick response was made by yet another ALP 45 DP, number 4521, as it leads train 1859 on its way from Hoboken to Waldwick. Back on the NYSW at Saddle Brook, we're set up for the Toys for Tots train as they're departing Rochelle Park, heading for their next scheduled stop in the town of Patterson. While the Toys for Tots train would be making its station stops at Patterson and Hawthorne, we decided to head right back up a few feet over to the Burke County line to catch a two-way meet of Train 71 and another Burke County line train heading for Hoboken. We resume our chase on the Southern Division once again, as the Toys for Tots train sweeps through the town of Midland Park, New Jersey, past milepost 25. We're now just south of Wyckoff, New Jersey, as the Toys for Tots train approaches its next stop to collect toys in the town of Wyckoff. After the stop in Wyckoff is complete, the train departs Wyckoff heading for its next stop in Franklin Lakes.
And there they go. All right, next stop.
NYSW Railway, milepost 28.8.
Our final scene of the Toys for Tots train shows it passing by 84 Lumber, which is one of many customers at the NYSW works on the Southern Division. The train is now approaching its next scheduled stop to collect toys around milepost 32.3 in the town of Oakland, New Jersey. I closed out this spectacular adventure after chasing the NYSW Toys for Tots trains with the New Jersey Transit's Tri-State Railway Historical Society Santa train, passing by the former DL&W passenger station in Boonton, New Jersey.